Hello everyone, my name is Takoda Hager and today I will be reviewing my summer internship for this past year for the Zoo Technology program at Community College, Jefferson Community College. We are going to go over my daily routine, a couple of interesting facts and practices I have learned, a brief history about the zoo, and a few other little fun and extra things that I'll find along the way. Now, before I begin, I will tell everyone I do apologize. I was not allowed to record any video or take any photography of any of the animals that I worked with because my rotation was in the education department. And most of these animals were off exhibit, so I was not given permission to record or upload such pictures and videos, and since they are not viewable to the public, the zoo would not be okay with me if I were to show you guys this. That's something you would have to come to our local zoo for and try maybe to get an arrangement with the education department. They can show you, or even better, come find me. Now let's get into it. I'm going to start with a brief history of the zoo. The Staten Island Zoo was founded in 1933 by the Staten Island Zoological Society. This was done to promote a more local conservation effort to the locals of Staten Island. It is known in today's world, in the zoo world, as the Little Big Zoo because even though it's small, we're talking about an 8 acre large zoo. It is very large in collection. I last number I heard was about 1,500 total animals in their collection, and they are very highly regarded, noted for with their reptile collection. Staten Island Zoo is home to the world's largest and most complete collection of all North American rattlesnakes. At one point in the zoo, they did feature all 32 species of rattlesnakes in North America. It is not 32 now. I don't remember the exact number, but it's anywhere in between 15 to 20, which is still a very big number. And this was all done in an effort by the zoo's curator at the time, Carl Caulfield. He did this because he wanted people to learn a better understanding of reptiles, learn to be more appreciative of them, and not have so much of a fear of them as some people do in today's society. So he basically wanted to show people that snakes and other reptiles aren't as scary as they think and how important they are to our society. So still to this day, Staten Island is very big with their reptile collection. They have an entire wing dedicated all about it. I highly recommend it. I remember seeing quite a few species of rattlesnakes in addition to some anacondas, some pythons, cobras. There's even iguanas, toads, turtles. If you're really into that stuff, come check it out. It's fantastic. Now, on to my daily routine. On average, the first thing I would do is go down and do life checks of the education animal department, which is located downstairs in an area not accessible by the public. These animals would include corn snake, black rat snake, red-tailed boa, ball python. We had four of them at one point. We have a Savannah monitor, two African bullfrogs, two Colorado river toads, two African spiny mice, one Virginia possum, three chinchillas, one hedgehog, three banded armadillos, an American kestrel, a lion's head rabbit, and some Madagascar hissing cockroaches. We also have Everglades rat snakes, carpet pythons, a tawny frogmouth, a sunny conure, and plenty of more that I'm forgetting at this very moment. So it's about roughly 50 to 75 animals that I am responsible for on the 2 days I intern. I intern both on Fridays and Sundays from 8 to 4 for a total of 7 hours. We are docked 1 hour for our lunch break. So the first thing I did was go in each morning and do a life check, or bar as we like to call it, and Dr. Irwin taught us. Just basically a daily life check, making sure everyone's okay, no problems experienced with their health, behavior, exhibit design, and any other flaws. The next step is we go around and check to see how much each animal ate if they ate the day before. For example, on Fridays, our bearded dragons and Our bearded dragons are fed on Thursdays, so on Friday morning I would come in to see how much the our bearded dragons ate. I would then record a rough estimate of how much percentage of how much they ate from the day before. Like, for example, let's say one of our dragons ate 50% and our other one ate 75%. That would be logged down into our log books and then would be submitted to a master copy sheet, which the education department holds for a while and will occasionally go back and review stuff in the event that there ever needs to be an animal transfer or the veterinarian needs to check up on the status of this animal. We have it all recorded. The next step would be distribution of diets assigned for that day. Now, our mammals, which I mentioned before, eat almost every day. Very, very rare cases will they not be fed consecutive days. Our reptiles, ones that are not snakes, usually are fed every 2 to 3 days. And our snakes, since we have a very large snake collection, are fed every 2 weeks. Now, by that, I mean we have a list of certain snakes are allowed to eat during week 1, and those snakes are not allowed to eat during week 2. The snakes that were not included on week 1 are then allowed to eat on week 2, and so on. The schedule alternates each day, every week, and snakes are only fed on Friday, so yay, I got to feed them, which is a really cool experience. More on that later. From there, we have the chart of what snakes are eating and how much they get. For example, our carpet pythons would be given 5 mice, while our Kenyan sand boas, 2 of them, were only allowed to feed very small mice, like not pinkies, but a little bit bigger than pinkies. We call them hoppers. And from there, we would take all the mice out during the morning, thaw them out for the afternoon shift, and we feed them from there. That's for snakes, but every other animal that is assigned that day will eat their assigned diets during that time. The next step is cleaning out, changing substrates, enrichment, which will take up at least 2.5 hours, which is most of the morning shift. So basically, it's daily housekeeping with these animals. We would go in, see if they, how should I put it, if they went to the bathroom or not. And if they did, change all substrate, replace it with new ones, change their water dishes, change their water dish as in we take their dish out, dump whatever water was not drank, scrub the bowl down with a substance called Vertcon, which is a very, very diluted, strong soap. It is pretty strong, but we were able to get a very diluted sample, so it's not as strong or harmful to the animals in case there is a little residue left over. Scrub the bowls down with Vertcon and water. Refill the water dish, and you continue with every other animal. Enrichment varies every week. Some days we have artificial enrichment, which would be the inclusion of man-made objects such as toys, PCP pipes, Lego blocks inside of each animal's exhibit, or we also have natural enrichments. We actually have a patch of bamboo at the zoo that grows where the public's not a bit visible to it. We take sometimes bamboo, sweetbriar, whatever is lying around, and we put it in these exhibits to encourage natural behaviors. For example, foraging, nest building, stuff like that. We also do scent enrichment. We will spray perfume or cologne into certain exhibits that are safe for the animals, and they will be able to exhibit some more natural behaviors. And sometimes we do sound or visual enrichment where we will either put bells or mirrors in each exhibit where the animals can either communicate with each other via sounds or just kind of remind themselves from the mirror, like, oh, who are you, handsome? One of those. After that, once that is done, it's usually miscellaneous tasks such as taking diet bowls back to the commissary, picking up prepared diets if available, finishing enrichment, and occasionally mopping and sweeping our animal lab rooms, and occasionally our classroom. Our classroom is connected to both animal labs. We have 2 separate animal labs, one for reptiles and one for mammals. And from there, If there's ever a program, those labs are accessible to myself or the instructor or the keeper I'm with to go back and forth when take an animal out from the lab and do a quick presentation on that animal. After that, it's usually lunch break, an hour or so, about, and then around like 1 o'clock or so, you come back from break. We resume the afternoon test, which is mostly snake feeding on Fridays. Now, as I mentioned before, you you read the schedule to see which snakes eat that week and prepare their diets, as in pulling and throwing out mice. When it comes to actual feeding, a quick few tips I have for you guys is one, never ever feed a snake by hand. Some of you who own snakes that are watching this video might know this already. But for those who don't, and this I learned myself because I don't have never owned a snake in my lifetime, it's wise to get a very, very long pair of tongues, and put it in through the sliding glass door. All of our exhibits have sliding glass doors. Open the door just a crack, just so you can put the tongues in. I apologize. Put it in just so it's enough where your hand is not inside the exhibit and the snake can see it. And most of the snakes will strike at the mouse very, very violently, so you want to make sure you have a safe distance from them. Once they do have a hold of the mouse, let go and let the snake eat. It takes them a few minutes, depending on species. Our carpet pythons are known to eat a whole mouse in 5 minutes, so you can keep feeding them every 5 minutes. But some, such as our ball pythons, take much longer, so you kind of have to keep coming back and checking on them, which takes up most of Fridays because everyone is different from each other. So you always have to keep coming back and checking on them. And then pretty much after that is general cleaning, husbandry, basic life checks at the end of the day on Fridays, making sure everyone's okay and accounted for, no issues occurred, lock up everything, and finish out your daily logs before going home. Sundays are a little bit different because snake feedings aren't that day, and it's a busier day, so you may be asked to occasionally help during animal presentation programs or birthday parties, or just general work around the zoo wherever you needed. We are sometimes asked to help water and assist our children's center garden. The children's center just recently opened a pollinators garden this past spring, and it is our duty as the education department to work alongside with the children's center department to maintain the garden. So we will be asked to water the gardens occasionally. We usually do this every other day. So education will water one day, children's center will water another day, and so on. We're also occasionally asked to weed if there's ever a problem with weeds, or just general raking, tossing up the soil, dirt, compost, whatever is needed. Since I'm speaking about the Children's Center, that brings me to my next topic, which is occasionally you are also asked to work alongside with our cavies and African crested porcupine. Our Pangatolan cavies are the world's fourth largest species of rodent. We had a pair this year that was successful in breeding. They gave birth to three offspring cavies, which at the time of this video are about 3 months old, and they were recently moved to a new exhibit. And the plan is, since they are considered education animals, we would like both the parents and one offspring to kind of get comfortable around people taking out their own programs. The two other offspring are most likely going to be moved to another facility very, very soon. So sometimes we will go in, you will change substrates and change water in that exhibit, and you will occasionally sit down in the exhibit, usually with a keeper. You will sit down and hand feed the cavies their diets. Uh, um, cavies are herbivores, so they will eat lettuce, kale, carrots, yams, and we also have grain pellets for them. And you hand feed them kind of just like this. Focus, there we go. And they will come to you and they will eat out of your hand. Very, very beautiful, touching. It's great having a little rodent on the tip of your finger. And you sit with them for about 5 to 10 minutes, making sure they come up and each one gets fed. And whatever they don't eat, you will leave in the exhibit so they can come at later times to finish off the diet. The goal of this is to get them as comfortable around people as much as possible. Now, our African crested porcupine Bintu is located right next door to our Cavies. African crested porcupines are the world's third largest species of rodents. We also happen to have capybaras in the children's center, but I was not able to work with them. But the African crested porcupine, his name is Bintu, is a wonderful animal to work with. You will do the same thing as you do with the cavies. Go in, change substrate water, and occasionally hand feed him. However, he can be a little bit jumpy at times, and since he is a porcupine, you have to be very mindful of him. And he has a tendency to follow you around and kind of corner you. In the event this does happen, this is why it's best recommended to go in with two people, because the other person can lure him away with an apple or yam, allowing you to exit the corner and finish your duties. Now, something that I've learned that I have never learned before is the Y hold. The Y hold is a recommended technique used by a lot of other keepers in zoos with handling reptiles. I will demonstrate now with our friend, Mr. Crocodile here. Yes, I've had this guy since I was a little kid. Now, the Y hold, it's recommended on most lizards, amphibians, basically any reptile that is not a snake. And how this works is you are going to take two fingers, kind of like this. You're going to take two fingers in your thumb. You're going to place those fingers right here, right behind the animal's front legs, and kind of put your thumb down here for support. You're going to eventually move them into the palm of your hand and move your thumb and pinky finger behind the other pair of legs. So you kind of restrain its legs from moving. You let the head out a little bit so the animal has full total access of their head. The main reason is to prevent the animal from scratching or hurting you during a presentation. This is very effective because, as you can see, the animal does not have much mobility with their legs, and a lot of the lizards that I have worked with tend to have very sharp claws or tails. You may get whacked by their tails, but it's not as bad as their claws. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video very, very much so. I know I had a great time filming this. It was a wonderful experience for me that I would never, ever forget. This was one of the greatest things I could have ever asked for. If you are in the area, please check out the Staten Island Zoo. It's a little small zoo, the little big zoo as we like to call it. I was proud to be part of it. It was fantastic, one of the best experiences I've ever had. A really, really little quick fact. The Staten Island Zoo is an AZA accredited facility, but they are not associated with the WCS like many of the other local New York City zoos and aquariums. So like the Bronx Zoo, Brooklyn Aquarium, Central Park Zoo, Prospect Park Zoo, and Queens Zoo are all AZA, but they are also part of the WCS, the World Conservation Society. The Staten Island Zoo is part of AZA, but not part of the WCS due to budgeting reasons. But it is still a very, very top-notch zoo, guys. I recommend going, even for just a quick little visit. Please show your support. I would greatly appreciate if you went. If possible, if you really, really want to get a career going with reptiles, this is the place to do it. I couldn't think of a much better facility to do so. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope I inspired some of you. Dr. Owen, I hope I made you very happy and you are very pleased with this. Thank you very much and have a nice day.